All right, we are recording, and we're doing that. The Princess Bride, physical copy that I have here. Um, Lots of actually interesting stuff to talk about it, but I do want to start off by saying yes, I am familiar with the movie, and honestly, I'm not going to look down on you if you're not familiar with the movie. But if you were born after, well, if you grew up in the '90s or after, and you are not familiar with the movie, your parents failed you. That's how I'm going to put it. Your parents failed you. I mean, maybe there's an edge where it's like, okay, no, then you became a parent before you had the chance to, watch it yourself. In which case, then you need to do yourself the favor and watch it, and then share it with kids or grandkids at this point. I mean, it legitimately is one of the most endearing and most solid movies out there. And yeah, I'm a man. I watched it as a boy, but I would still say it is a movie that women as well and girls as well will be they will enjoy it. It is as much a movie for them as it is for boys because you got plenty of action, but you do also have the romance angle there, and it still is a virtuous story as well. You have all kinds of things, and it is such a good, realistic fantasy as well. I mean, it's anyone can get into this. Anyone can get into this. So truly, it is on my list. I got every movie in my collection, but one is one I am happy to have in my collection, and I look forward to one day being able to share it with people. There's different levels of that. Princess Bride is definitely high on that, where it's like, wait, you haven't seen it? I'm fixing this. This is a problem I need to fix. But now, let me talk about the book. And right away, I want to, talking about the cover, this is only the paperback, and we have, it's actually embossed, both the title here and also the name, William Goldman, which I'll get to that in a little bit. But looking at the image here, which you can see over there, so this is the 30th anniversary version. So it would have, I'm just checking on the copyright, at least 2003. There's also a copyright in here of 2007. I'll explain that in a little bit. But yeah, looking at the cover, it is not quite what you get from the movie. Looking first at the Wesley character here, that does not look like Carrie Yules to me, or Elways, however you're supposed to pronounce it. I respect him. He did a wonderful job in this and in some other roles as well that I'm familiar with. But I'm not always that good with names. Yeah, it doesn't quite look like him there. The outfit is actually green when he is clearly wearing black in the movie. Although, to be fair, I think that it's because if you look, the palette is largely green. And actually, it's funny, the image there that I took off of Barnes & Noble, which linked to where you can buy it, is there. And you can't, there's also a hardcover version. I didn't feel like spending twice the money to get the hardcover over the paperback. Yeah, this is a little bit more, less saturated than that, the actual appearance, which I don't know what to say about that. But anyway, I could believe that the costume was more a black, and they tinted it. They brought it over to be more green, so that you don't have as much black on the frame on the image. It is just to match better with that. But as I said, doesn't quite look like him. We also, if you look, the sword, that is not the sword that Wesley uses in the movie. Actually, yeah, I'm now kind of wondering that. Is that the right length even? I feel like that might be way too long. But anyway, that is far more decorative. In the movie, it has the crossguard and a simple, almost like a figure. I'm not entirely sure how to describe it. Almost like just a figure 8 around there. It is a rapier. My understanding is, okay, using this in place of the handle, that for a rapier, you don't necessarily use it like this with a straight grip. You actually will go like this. And so you do put your fingers through with those loops there, and so you would go like this, which makes sense. It is, I mean, while this might be long, if you look at the geometry of the blade there, it is long, straight, with a tip, with a point. The idea is this is to stab with, okay? This is a thrusting sword, right? It is not meant for cutting. But I have seen stuff, videos, that it is actually a very lethal cutter as well, that it is still a sharp edge, and it is apparently still rigid enough to do a good job. And at that length, I can imagine, the leverage you can probably get to cut further out on that blade is probably murder. So it still is. You do technically, some of the styles with it are you actually hold it more like this. And to help put that in further context, I did fence for 3 years, epee and foil, and I did also some saber. Saber is going to be a straight grip, or I think technically it's called a French grip. It's been a while, where it just has a little bit of a curve to it, so it better fits in your hand because the line there isn't completely straight. But for epee and foil, had a pistol grip. So it is actually a shape that you grip like this, and the blade goes out that way. So that would be potentially a bit closer to what a rapier is. But it's all, and both epee and foil are definitely stabbing, but you would never slash. So I can understand you'd still want that straight grip. It would also be stronger, as it could be stronger as well. Anyhow, but yeah, that is clearly not the same sword. Now looking at Buttercup in this, that costume does look right for what Robin White, right? Sorry. I'm sorry, you got R's and W's there, and that's where my speech impediment is, right? But the face actually does look a lot like her. The costume looks a great deal like what she was wearing for the majority of the movie. So that looks very good. But yeah, it still is. The rest of it, I'm guessing that they did painting, and they may have had somebody stand in for doing that, like, so that you had models there, or even a picture that you then did. But yeah, it is a little odd to me. She looks completely correct, and he doesn't. I mean, it's like, I don't know if that meant that the artist could get permissions to use her likeness, but not his, or maybe they figured, she's the one we need to get right, he's in a mask. It's a funny thing, I've not actually read the thing on the back here. Yeah, I guess I should. A tale of true love and high adventure. Pirates, princesses, giants, miracles, fencing, and a frightening assortment of wild beasts. The Princess Bride is a modern storytelling classic. Based on the movie? Yes. And I'm also just trying to think, this is a fun little game I play now, where I do try to consider, mainly with books, not so much with movies. I will think about it with movies, but are they targeting more a male audience or female audience? I feel like the majority of this would be targeting men, because it's a story of true love. Okay, woman. High adventure, man. Pirates, man. Princesses, both, potentially, depending. Giants, miracles, not sure what that would be, but giants would definitely be men. Fencing, men. And a frightening assortment of wild beasts, men. It is an interesting thing to think about, because it is also... I'll even say it. So part of this, I'll play this game while I'll pull up like Barnes & Noble's homepage. I'll pull up the Kobo homepage, pull up the Amazon Books homepage, and just look at the books that they're sharing. And it's like, yeah, those are targeting women instead of men. And sometimes you can tell. You don't even, if you don't know what the title is, you just look at the cover. It's like, yeah, they're looking for women to buy this book. Because yes, there's aesthetic tastes are different between men and women. And if you didn't know that, how do you not know that? Anyway, and it's actually kind of funny, as I stop and think about it, if I didn't recognize, I actually would probably think that this is a book for women. Mainly because that kind of pose there, how she is on him, it's like, yeah, that seems more coded for women. But it's a Princess Bride. I know based on the movie that I can expect that, no, this is going to be a lot of fun. It is not just a kissing book, to reference the movie, which... See, that's also kind of... This is a good one to talk about that stuff with, because that's the whole starting of it. It is... Oh, man, Did we get his name? Nope, just the grandson. With Peter Falk as grandpa. I mean, it's like... It truly is a movie that it seems like everything aligned perfectly for that. Like, Peter Falk as the grandfather, it's like, yes, everybody wants him as your grandfather. This is amazing. And Peter Falk is also a very interesting person. You might be able to tell in some of what he does, not all. Columbo, it's definitely visible. But there are other things where you can't quite tell so easily that he has a glass eye. The reason why, as I recall, he actually had a brain tumor as a child, and they removed it. He lived, all that, went on, great life, but it did cost him that eye. There's somebody else. It might be Sammy Davis Jr. that he lost an eye. That I don't remember now. Because he also got into a car accident that was bad. That may have been it. I'm trying. There was one person, like of not necessarily that generation, because of that era, that I think it's actually like when a child they got shot in the head and actually took out their eye. I don't remember which one that may have been. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, you do have that idea there that is this a kissing book? No. Well, I mean, there is kissing in it, but you get there, and by the end of it, he's like, no, it's okay. You can still read that because he's so engrossed in the book. And that really is like a sign of good storytelling, that you don't need it all to be what the person specifically wants. You do try to have that there. You do try to satisfy them, but then you still make sure that it is so engrossing for them that the things that maybe they don't care for as much, they want it. That it's like, yes, still give that to me because it's part of it, and then come back tomorrow and read it to me again. It's really, really awesome. I don't think I could read this all in one day though. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Let me finish reading the back. Then I'll start opening up and showing you some stuff. So by the way, one thing I find funny is because I only know these by like people saying it in the movie. It is going to be interesting to see the correct spelling, because there was one that should be on here. I'll get to it after reading through this though. As Florin and Gilder teeter on the verge of war, the reluctant Princess Buttercup is devastated by the loss of her true love. Kidnapped by a mercenary and his henchmen, rescued by a pirate, forced to marry Prince Humperdinck, and rescued once again by the very crew who absconded with her in the first place. In the course of this dazzling adventure, she meets Vizzini, the criminal philosopher who will do anything for a bag of gold, Fezzik, the gentle giant, Inigo, the Spaniard whose steel thirsts for revenge, and Count Rugen, the evil mastermind behind it all. Foiling all their plans and jumping into their stories is Wesley, Princess Buttercup's one true love and a very good friend of a very dangerous pirate. That's actually very interesting, because some of that doesn't quite align with what's in the movie. But to be fair, I mean, you can't get through this in a day. Well, I don't think I could read through all this in a day, certainly not with the recordings. But yeah, you'd have to cut it down. You'd have to abridge it for the book. Although, the version of the movie that I have from the Criterion Collection, I haven't done it yet. I haven't played it yet. There is apparently a commentary track, essentially different audio track, where somebody is reading. It's sort of an abridged audiobook version that matches up with the movie. Yeah, hour and 38 minutes. Yeah, that's another thing that's pretty wonderful about the movie when you think about it, is it is relatively short, so it's easy to just put that on whenever to enjoy it. Yeah, so okay. As it says there, though it might be a little hard to read, The Princess Bride, S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure, and then we get William Goldman beneath that. And notice, William Goldman is written larger than this S. Morgenstern's classic tale, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason for that. Fortunately, it is still smaller than The Princess Bride. That is, by the way, one thing that annoys the hell out of me when I look at those covers on whatever storefront, because it's like, I do get the whole, some people, it's like, I'm going to buy the book because it's this author's book, but I'm sorry, the book should be the book, so please have the titles be larger than the author name. Anyway, so why is William Goldman, why is this name written larger? Why is it that when you look into this, on the title page, Princess Bride, S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure, then the good parts version abridged by William Goldman. Why does it say this? Who is William Goldman? Who is S. Morgenstern? Well, apparently S. Morgenstern is no one. William Goldman, from what I can tell when looking it up, so there's a concept of a framed narrative. In fact, the Princess Bride movie is an example of that, where it is the grandfather is reading the book. And so we're basically inside the grandson's head for how things are playing out. That's a framed narrative. If you read the original Frankenstein, that's framed narrative. If you watch The Usual Suspects, which is not an appropriate movie for kids, by the way, that is a framed narrative. I'm trying to think what others are also framed narratives. But it is that idea of somebody is telling you the story. You're not just watching the story unfold itself. Um, William Goldman decided to do that with the book he was writing, but in a more meta way than like Frankenstein. Because in Frankenstein, it is Victor von Frankenstein has been found in the Arctic. He is come onto a boat and is telling the ship's captain or first mate, something like that, everything. And the captain is writing down. Dracula is also, by the way, a frame narrative, because that is actually a collection supposedly composed by, I don't remember her name, the main woman in it. She, well, the men around her, that include Van Helsing, who's like the uncle, grandfather kind of figure, her fiance, then husband, and then two men who one was kind of like, they were both like suitors to a friend of hers. Anyway, those four men actually go out to fight Dracula. She is in danger because she's been bitten by Dracula, but she actually collects all the like newspaper clippings and notes and compiles it together to help them keep track of everything, because it is, by the way, I like Dracula better than Frankenstein. I don't think I'll go through it because it was only a few years ago I read it. But that is also frame narrative, and it's a very good book. I very much enjoy it. But in this, it's a frame narrative in that he's saying, oh yeah, I heard this, my grandfather told me this story that was by S. Morgenstern. I loved it so much I figured I would collect it together and put together, a more concise version of it that's, just the good parts. It's like, and apparently he kept this up for decades even, because this is the 30th anniversary edition. There's two introductions in this. Introduction to the 30th anniversary edition. Introduction to the 25th anniversary edition. Then you get the Princess Bride. Then you get Buttercup's Baby, an explanation. Then Buttercup's Baby, Chapter 1. I'm not going to name that because it does spoil a little bit. And then we get the reading group guide, which I'm not going to bother with that. But yes, Buttercup's Baby is supposed to be the sequel, and I did look a little bit at this because, like, wait, Buttercup's Baby? What the heck is this? He actually tries to explain it in there for why it's not complete, that he was in a fight with, like, he had to argue with the Morgenstern estate to get permission to put this all together. And it's like, no, he's actually the dude writing. He's just maintaining the bit, which in some ways is, it allows you to wonder then, what is the full story? Because this is the abridged version. Okay, well, what is the full version? Makes you wonder what has been left out. And also, could this be based on something more true instead of just this storybook version that he's telling us? It is a very interesting, clever idea there. I don't think I would ever do it myself. I don't even know if I could do a framed story all the way through. Nah. I mean, I can do specific elements, specific points, because, I mean, it's like there's at least one chapter in A Letter from Catherine that is literally just Roman thinking back on something that happened to him, I don't remember how many months ago now, but so many months ago. And it's like, but that's the most I would do with, it's like, just flashbacks for a character kind of thing. Alright, so let's start looking more at the inside. So we got praise for the Princess Bride in the front. That's it. Princess Bride, title page, also by William Goldman. He did a fair amount of fiction, non-fiction, screenplays, plays. Okay. I don't know if I'm familiar with any of these. There's one Maverick in 1998. I wonder what that is, though. Because there was the Maverick television show with James Garner in 50s or 60s, I would guess. I'm not sure. And then they did try doing a movie. I don't know if he's connected with that at all. Anyway, moving on. Then we got this, original copyright 1973, then 1998, 2003 by William Goldman. Map and Reader's Guide, copyright 2007. I will talk about the map in a little bit. The two introductions I mentioned. And I do also want to mention this. Oh, yeah, I'll even show this. See how it is kind of neat. So even the chapters start with this. I don't know how well you can read it, but it is basically a A frontispiece, I think, would technically be. Well, it is something a bit more decorative to say, hey, here's the new chapter. Not really how I do it. I do make sure that chapters start on a new page and on the odd page, so it's always the one on the right. But I don't know about dressing it up like this. I mean, that's just my taste. But it is. This is a nice, soft book, which is actually kind of surprising because it is. When reading through the Star Wars novels, the Star Wars original trilogy novelization, that was annoying because that book, though a paperback, is kind of thin this way. It's also thick, so it's like that wasn't that soft. It could be because of that physical design, that physical size. The trim size. That's it. I was trying to remember what the right word was. Prequel trilogy was much easier. That's a much larger book. This, it feels like it's just made with softer material, so it's nice and pliable, which it feels so much more comfortable in your hand. The paper, though, doesn't seem of any lower quality, so it's not like it. That's why it is. It's softer. It just seems like they used a softer paper. Font size looks nice. Looks like this battle. Hang on. Yes, I'm actually going to measure this. I want to. I was. Okay, so no, it's about. Okay. A little bit more than half an inch of a margin on the outside, which that's nice. I need to check because you can gauge inches by like points on your hand, but it's just my hands are large enough that it's like, okay, I was thinking it's about half an inch, but it's like, wait a minute, let me check because my hands are large. I mean, it's like I was thinking, oh yeah, that's about half an inch because of where my thumb is on that, but it's like, wait, my thumb is kind of wide. Let me check. Sorry, it's just, I mean, that I remember because on many people that's about an inch. No, on me it's an inch and a half. So it's like I need to check. But anyway, comfortable margins here. We got on the upper left header William Goldman. Upper right is The Princess Bride. Don't get me wrong, I like labeling the book in there. I think that's fine. It doesn't change. So back here, William Buttercup's Baby, it still says The Princess Bride. That really should have been changed to Buttercup's Baby, in my opinion. But it's also, I like for me, I have it set up where it'll be, instead of author over here, I have it be book title, and it's actually all the way over. It's not centered. And then the chapter is identified on this page, in the header there. The footer only consists of the page number, but also has a nice little flourish underneath it. I don't know how well that'll show up, if at all. Yeah, because you're fighting me there. Hopefully you can see it. It is kind of thin, but I mean, it's just a nice little touch. Font size looks nice. It is a serif font, which is one thing that I do wonder about, because I have seen some things saying, yeah, it's nice to use serif font because it can be easier to read. It's like, I always find sans serif nicer, but I mean, still, yeah, whatever. It works. Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Well, I'll get to that in a little bit. So I want to talk about this map, which I doubt that it's going to come through the camera very well. But you can see in like the channel of Gilder there, which I am a little confused by some of this. Florin, on this side. We have various things pointed out here. We've got Florin City, that makes sense. Great Square, Thieves' Quarter, which is surprisingly close. I mean, just for the geography I would have built up from the movie, this doesn't quite match what I would expect. But we also have some new things like the Zoo of Death. Okay, got the wheelbarrow here. Cool. Cart track. We don't have the Pit of Misery. At least I haven't found it yet on here. Farm and hovel, which I'm guessing the farm is Buttercup's farm. The hovel is where Wesley lived nearby. Oh wait, we do have an oak tree labeled here, which maybe that'll be it. But that's in Gilder. Which yeah, there's an aspect here that's odd. I'll get to that. But we have the Armada, the pursuit ship, kidnapper's ship, Cove, kidnap. Oh wait, yeah, I said kidnapper's ship. Cliff 7 Sandy and rope. So that's where how they would climb up. The duel is marked on here. Ambush, so that'd be Fezzik's ambush. The picnic. There's a ravine which I guess is the way is what you see them falling down when Buttercup realizes who the dread pirate is actually Wesley. The snow sand instead of lightning sand, so maybe that's just a different name, and they figured, well, snow sand might make more sense in this, but lightning sand is like, okay, that gets across much more quickly in the movie what it is. I don't know, I'm just guessing. And all this is in Gilder, by the way. Then you have the Fire Swamp, Burst of Flame, and the ROUSs. We have the Revenge March along with the Giant Eagle Bay, the Fishing Village, Fezzik's Cave, which actually makes me feel kind of sad. Because, like, why is Fezzik stuck in a cave? Fezzik's awesome. Andre the Giant's awesome, too. Oh yeah, we've also got Miracle Max's hut down here, which, again, it's odd because it was in the wall of Florence City. And I would have thought that would have been further out, but yeah, so anyway, the main thing about this that confuses me is Florin Channel. It's a river that divides between, well, Florin Channel up here and then Channel of Gilder down here. But it shows a single, essentially a river that divides between them. And that doesn't make any sense to me because so then that would mean that the kidnappers taking Buttercup across the water. That makes sense because that could just be it's a faster way to go. It doesn't leave a trail, so they can get across to the Cliffs of Insanity faster, get to Gilder faster than anyone going by land. So then we're to believe that Humperdinck and his men also took a ship across, went up the rope. Well, couldn't have gone up the rope. Somehow got up the Cliffs of Insanity, arrived there, and because knew exactly where to go, versus them having to come over by land, which would take a longer time, find the specific spot that how would they know that's it, and they go. I mean, true, that is actually kind of a problem, but still, they would do all that. Eventually, they catch up to Wesley and Buttercup. They knock him out, so he then wakes up in the cave, in the Pit of Despair. But the Pit of Despair should be near Florin. It seemed like there may be a connection how quickly the Humperdinck gets from the castle when he's so furious to there. I figured that there's some sort of secret passage. They not just the oak tree, but in any case, it's still they're crossing this body of water to get Buttercup and him back. It's like if he wanted Wesley dealt with, why bring him back? That seems very odd to me. I mean, the book may explain it, but certainly in the movie, that's a huge deviation from what is being drawn here. Now, another thing, and this I will mention, I kind of meant to mention it earlier and then forgot. I always thought his name was Indigo, not Inigo. So with a D instead of the N. And I'll explain why. Because I'm pretty sure it is Fezzik that when Andre the Giant is saying it, it sounds like it's a harder sound there, harder syllable. That instead of Inigo, it's like Indigo. Something like that. It's a bit harder there, so I always thought it was a D. And that whenever Manny Patinkin was saying his own name of Inigo, he was saying it with the accent, and so it's actually Indigo, it's just the D is softened because of the accent. No, apparently the name actually is Indigo, and I was just wrong the entire time. Oh well. Whatever. I was a kid. That's not what matters too much. It is just, have it be good and awesome story, and it is. You know what? One thing also, I just remembered, that just occurred to me when looking at this, is getting an answer, because I just flipping through it, I saw the word father then, that reminded me, when I can wrap up this video soon, I saw somebody do a reaction to this, and it's like, wait, you're doing a reaction to this, and you're an adult? Younger than me, but still, you're an adult, you haven't seen it? Watching it, this is one of the best movies ever. It's like, okay, good, you have seen it, you're just doing this to talk about it with people. I applaud this. And legitimately, I do, because as I said with my movie collection, I have this stuff to share. If you've not seen, here, let's pick one, the Alien. It's actually right there. If you've not seen Alien, it's like, I want you to see it, and then we can talk about it. Even if you have seen it, then cool, let's talk about it. It's like, I still want to share it, because I think that is such a fantastic movie. I really, really love that movie. It's very good. Well, okay, maybe not love, but it is a very good movie. I immensely enjoy it. Yeah, so it's like that did make me happy. But when looking at the comments, somebody was reading a bit too much into it, in my opinion, that the grandfather came to read instead of the father, and they were like, oh, maybe the father isn't around, he might be single. And I'm just like, or, he's like, this is just what I'm thinking. It's like, or it's a work day. Like, the kid isn't in school because he's home sick. Maybe the mom is a stay-at-home mom, but this isn't, she's got other chores that she needs to do. She can't just be in there taking care of him. It's like, because it's also sick kid like that, sick boy, might not want his mom around there, just waiting hand for him, might be annoyed by that, just be like, I feel bad, you don't need to do this, let me play my video games. If I need something, I'll call. See you at lunch, see you at dinner kind of thing. It's like, don't worry about it. The dad could just spin off at work. But the grandfather, retired, he comes over and he's going to take care of you because that's what he'll do. But I will grant the whole, my father read it to me and I read it to your father when he was sick. That does imply then that maybe that he was there, that it is normally father to son and this was broken there, but it could just be the father was at work, and the grandson, so the grandfather came over for the grandson because he was available, and maybe I read it to him on the weekends when he was sick, something like that, or I just read it at night when I came home. All very reasonable, but yeah, it was still just one of those, I think you're reading more into it than you need to, but hey, maybe in here we'll actually say something. Alright, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to mention. Nothing specific is coming to mind. I should actually mention that. So, Buttercup's Baby, it is technically one chapter, how at least it's labeled that, but it does have spots where it is, like, even a couple pages in, it to Inigo. So I guess it's like chapter 1, but part 2. And I remember seeing elsewhere there was like a part 3 and a part 4. Yeah, 3 but is labeled Buttercup and Wesley. Come on. Trying to get to, wow, Buttercup and Wesley is a long part, it looks like. And then 4, I'm not going to read that name. It's just for what it is. I'm comfortable with seeing a little bit and being like, oh, I know what's going on here. I will leave that, though, to not spoil it later. But yeah, so I will be breaking it up into the parts and basically treat it as chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter... That's how I'll be treating it, even though technically that might not be completely correct. But yeah, so I'm absolutely looking forward to this. We'll see how long it takes. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that long a book. But I don't know, because it's only 8 chapters. So they might be kind of long chapters. It might take me a while to, with how some of the videos will be. Like more time I have to set aside. That may slow me down. I'm just trying to think and not just stretch this out arbitrarily. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Text set in Adobe Caslin. So that's kind of neat. That actually tells you. I use LaTeX. It is free. Open source, even. I mean, nothing wrong with Adobe, whatever Caslin is. But it's just the, I like the free stuff. It makes it a lot easier. But yeah, so this should be fun to go through. And at the end, I can watch the movie and have a good excuse for it. It's always nice to have a good excuse to watch a good movie. All right. I will. So the plan is, because I already have the stuff written out here, I will do. Next will be a video for the 30th anniversary introduction, then the 25th anniversary introduction. Then we'll actually get to the meat of the story, chapter 1, chapter 2, so on. And then, and it is only 8 chapters. And then the Buttercup's Baby, the explanation. And then the chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 for Buttercup's Baby. And here, I'll briefly look at the reading group guide. It says, oh, okay. It's the very first one. Questions and topics for discussion. But 1. In the introduction to the 30th anniversary edition, Goldman claims that he adapted The Princess Bride from a book originally written by the great Flornese writer S. Morgenstern. Throughout the rest of the novel, Goldman sustains two narratives, the tale of the Princess Bride and the story of his own involvement with it. How do Goldstein's comments about Morgenstern, the publishing process, and the entertainment industry in general affect your reading of his novel? But it's like, it's saying even there that, yeah, Morgenstern was made up, as I tried to explain, probably poorly. Okay. That actually is, yeah, that is going to be interesting. Just another thing here is Humperdinck built his zoo of death, so maybe that is what the pit of despair becomes. But talks about how would you characterize the prince's brand of sadism and the sadism of Count Rugen as life-sucking machine. That actually is going to be interesting because in the movie, Rugen is, he's more so the sadist, but he does it in a scientific way. It makes it more interesting that it's like he has no, he's more a sociopath, I guess, than really a sadist. But it will be interesting to see how the characters are in here. But also, I also have to mention, I'll get to see, is Humperdinck truly a better mastermind than Emperor Palpatine? If you don't understand that, you need to go and watch the videos for mainly, definitely the Revenge of the Sith when I did the chapter analysis of the Revenge of the Sith novelization in the prequel trilogy, because it was in probably chapter 2 or 3 where we get to the fencing, the sword fight. It's not fencing, it's barely, I got issues with that fight, so many issues with that fight, between Dooku and Anakin and Obi-Wan. And it just reminded me of the dueling scene in the Princess Bride movie, at least. It will also be in here, I just don't know how it will exist in here compared to the movie. But it got me thinking about that, and I realized that both in Revenge of the Sith and in Attack of the Clones, that when you actually start thinking about and analyzing Palpatine's plan, it is utter nonsense, and it only makes sense if you are lucky. But then as I started thinking about The Princess Bride, which I have the movie sitting here, I can see the title, I have a stack of movies here that the camera's sitting on. That's how I see it there. And the sword fighting made me think of that duel as well as comparison. Then it's like, so I thought about Humperdinck's plan, at least in the movie, he's a better mastermind. Because he orchestrates for Buttercup to be abducted and killed so Gilder can be blamed. When that fails, he also set it up so that he's the one tracking the people that are trying to abduct her. So if they fail, it now falls on him. He can control all the evidence, make sure it's going to be blamed on Gilder. Oh, wait, she's alive. Thank heavens Gilder didn't kill her, take her back home, and now everyone believes Gilder wants to kill her. No matter what the security procedure is, I just have to kill her myself, say it was Gilder, and everyone will believe me. It's a perfect plan. It truly is mastermind level, because it ends up just, he maintains control throughout. Palpatine, so much of that stuff is, he got lucky, man. It's just no one ever thought that, hey, there's a missing planet for 10 years. No one ever wondered that. They never tried to get payment early. No one's asking about how the ships are being made. There is just like, wow. He got frickin' lucky. While Humperdinck stayed in control. He kept control. At least in the movie, we'll see if that's the case in the book. I want it to be the case in the book because I know it's kind of a meme, but it still is. I want to be able to make that argument. I want to be able to argue to people that no, Palpatine is not that good, because it is the whole thing about I'm doing these videos, these assigned reading videos, to be critical for multiple reasons. To, for one thing, show that you can be critical even of stories that you like. You can be critical that, hey, I like this, and hey, I don't like this. You can do that. That's good. That's a healthy thing to do. And also to show that, yeah, some of this stuff isn't actually that good of writing. Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion, of the 6, is the worst written. It is absolutely the worst of those 6 stories. For the novels. I'm not talking about the movies. I got issues with the movie as well, but focusing on the novels, it is the only one of them that I would say don't bother with. It's the only one because it at the beginning, I mentioned Dooku already, but Anakin as well, both of them, even Obi-Wan to a lesser degree, the way they're written made me lose respect for them. It's like, why should I read this book when a primary bad guy, true, he dies early on, but still, a primary bad guy I lose respect for quickly, And then the primary good guy, who yes becomes the bad guy, but it's like even the protagonist, I lose respect for him. Why would I continue reading this book? It's a really not that good a book. It really isn't. But that is also part of it, is to criticize it and go through to criticize these things, go through all that, and I want to be able to say that Humperdinck, yes, is a better mastermind, because there will be people that'll be like, no, look at what Palpatine achieves. It's like, he got lucky. Here, I can give you these points for why, and I can tell you, once I finish with this, hopefully, I will be able to say, but Humperdinck doesn't make those mistakes. I want to be able to say that. I really do. I should stop recording. I really just want to say this because I started thinking about another book that I want to do. Because I've read it before. It's been many years, so I will do it. The one that I will do after this, I am very much looking forward to also finishing this to get to that one. That story, there are aspects of that may blow your mind, but this is just, I hope I can say that I love the movie and I love the book. I'm looking forward. I hope that will be the case. We shall see. We shall see. I'm yakking enough, aren't I? Okay, I guess, hold on, one quick thing. One more quick thing that I just want to check to... Okay, yeah. Just one thing that has occurred to me is technically every single book I've done, in one way or another, has been made into movies. Like the Star Wars novelizations, movies. This made into a movie. iRobot was made into a movie, although my understanding is the story of the movie has no direct relation to any of the stories in iRobot. Many Grimm's fairy tales were made into movies. At some point, I will try to do a book that is just a book. We'll see whenever I get to that, though. See you next time.